This is Denis, a Ukrainian entrepreneur who lived in Portugal but moved to Indonesia 4 years ago. He shared why Indonesia is the best place to live, the reasons it has incredible potential for the future, and why it's so important to have a plan B in life and business. I'm Max Chernov, your insider to expat life. Ayo.
Bali is one of the best places where I used to live.
Yeah. How is it compared to Portugal?
Portugal is a very small country. It reminds me of California because of ocean, like same seaside, almost same weather, landscape, wine, chilled lifestyle, also a lot of entrepreneurs. But compared to Bali and overall, like you've been living in Europe, right? So you have this understanding of European lifestyle and Southeast Asia lifestyle. And after been living in Southeast Asia, like the simplicity of life, weather, cost of living, quality of life, you cannot move back to Europe because Europe is too many bureaucracy, too many things, people are very slow, lazy, and no. Portugal is nice overall, but to live, I would prefer Bali. So Indonesia is the fourth largest country by population in the world. A number of people here is more than 260 million. It's the biggest country, island country in the world, more than 17,000 islands. Indonesian GDP is growing almost like 2 or 3% year over year for the last 3 or 4 years. And overall, Indonesia is considered now as investment paradise. And cost of living in Indonesia is very great compared to European countries.
You're here in Ubud, right? Why Ubud and not Canggu, not Uluwatu or some other places?
Bali is very diverse. It's relatively like small island, but it's very big and it's very different. And especially for the last 2 years, Bali started to grow like crazy when restrictions were lifted and borders get open again after COVID. Bali just exploded in terms of development, in terms of tourists, in terms of all other activities, international tourists, local tourists. There are probably 4 main areas, or like 3 main areas in Bali. Canggu and Seminyak. Like before it was Seminyak, and now everything is moving north. So now Canggu is probably the busiest place on an island. Uluwatu,
super busy.
South, which is more like for surfers, and I recently been to Uluwatu. It reminds me Canggu like back in 2019, like very chilled vibes. It's hard to get there because of traffic, but once you're inside the Uluwatu, it's very chilled and simple vibe. And Ubud is completely different because it's located in the middle of an island, surrounded by jungle, and I'm an expat here. I'm not considering myself as a tourist. And been living in different places, I've just realized that Ubud is very comfortable for long-term living. It's not that hot in Ubud compared to Canggu or Uluwatu. In terms of property, you can find more nicer villas, and overall lifestyle in Ubud is more chilled. Also in Canggu, too much construction going on. It's very noisy, a lot of traffic, a lot of tourists, and when you live here for a long term, you just have different priorities, and you don't want like to surround yourself with this touristic stuff if your business is not related or connected somehow to this activity.
Tell me about the flag theory, like Plan B theory. I know you are a big believer, and actually I think I heard first time I heard about this theory, the flag theory, from you.
Really?
So what's the concept?
The concept behind flag game or flag theory is that you diversify your presence across different countries. So it means that you can be a citizen of one country. At the same time, you can be resident of multiple countries, and you have no limitations how many residences you can have. So let's say I have residency in Indonesia, I have residency in Portugal. I'm planning to apply for residency in Paraguay and also in other Latin American countries. So let's say you can have at the same time from 3 to 5 residences. And later, 1 or 2 of those residences, let's say in 3 or 5 year terms, they can convert into a passport. If you will make everything right, if you'll follow the process, and if you'll understand your end goal. So besides having residency or having passports, you can have a company which will be incorporated in tax favorable jurisdiction. Let's say you live in Singapore, and Singapore is one of those not offshore. Many people consider offshore is something illegal, is something gray. But offshore is absolutely like wide term. It's a very simple and reliable concept. Offshore, it just means not in your country. It means like out of shore of your country. So if you open a company or bank account in other country, it basically means offshore company.
Yeah.
And in terms of opening a company in other jurisdiction, you can consider Singapore, you can consider Estonia. They have Estonia e-residency program. You can consider UAE. Actually, now UAE also they implement some changes, and recently they implemented 5% tax on some sort of activities. But you still have this opportunity to open a company in jurisdiction that is different from your where you come originally from. And also, you can invest in property in different countries. Let's say Bali. Bali is called as an investment paradise. And now what we can see in Canggu is just a crazy boom for real estate investment happening here. And coming back to this flag concept. So you plant flags across the globe. You plant flags across different countries.
How do you plant flags? Like my thinking was, if let's say my area of interest lays, let's say in Asia, so for me maybe make more sense to kind of have like say my company incorporated in Singapore, I have residency in Singapore, and then do I have to, let's say, have a residency in Paraguay and Latin America or passport? How should I approach the map with my own flags?
It all depends on your personal criteria. It depends on your long-term goals. If you are planning to get just residency, or if you are planning to get a second passport, you have few options for getting a passport. Either it's citizenship by investment, when you invest a certain amount of money, let's say $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 in one of Caribbean countries, or you can apply for residency by investment or just simple residency program. And many countries in LATAM region, like South America and Latin America, they offer very simplified opportunity to get residency there. Let's say you can get residency in Mexico, you can get residency in Argentina, and in 2 years convert it into passport. You can apply for residency in Brazil. As far as I know, you can get a residency in Argentina and Brazil by birth. So if you go there, your child is born, your child get a passport, and you can get as a parent a passport, let's say in 1 or 1.5 years. Chile is one of the most difficult countries in Latin America to apply for passport, because Chilean passport is quite strong. With Chilean passport you can travel to US with no visa, and you have to go through this 5 years term to apply for a Chilean passport.
So the concept, what you're saying is, that's what we call plan B, basically. So if something happens, I have more options, let's say. Well, that's the concept, yeah?
It's just, a safety option. You now in Singapore. Singapore is the most protected country. Having a Singaporean passport is probably like one of the best achievements you can make in terms of residency and citizenship gain. But it's not that easy to get Singaporean passport.
And Singaporean passport doesn't allow you to have any other passport?
Yes, if you apply for Singapore, like if you have your original passport, you get in Singaporean, you have to cancel your original passport. And you don't know what will happen. Living in Asia, it's nice to stay here until you pay. Once you stop paying, once you stop supporting your residency long-term permit, they will ask you, okay, sorry, thank you, but please move somewhere. You just have to understand that I need to have a plan B. And plan B for me and plan B for you would be completely different. But from line a foundation and understanding, okay, if I need a second passport, let's say what are top 3 countries or top 5 countries where I can get second passport in the easiest and the fastest way. And you can simply count it on hands.
Yeah. Portugal?
Paraguay, not Portugal. In Portugal, you'll get a passport in 5 years.
Yeah.
And Portugal passport is quite long process.
You mean faster, like 1 or 2
Fast.
years? Yeah.
And very affordable. Argentina, or as people in Argentina say, Argentina. Brazil.
Yeah.
And probably Mexico.
The problem with the flag theory in general. I'm a big believer that it's kind of the right theory, the right approach, yeah, to life overall. Like making freedom one of the top priorities in your life. Fully agree. The problem for me is the kids and making permanent friends. So with kids it's like more difficult to relocate, not even to relocate. If you want to have like two, let's say for me, my ideal scenario, I have like 2 or 3 bases in the world, let's say one in Singapore, one maybe somewhere in Europe and somewhere else. And I spend like 4 months here, there and there. That's the best scenario. The problem is until they finish high school, you're kind of locked to one place. Exception might be if you like homeschooling, but I'm not a big fan of homeschooling. Another one is kind of maybe deeper relations with friends, so it's hard to make friends if you are like 4 months. But this is it's easier to solve. But the kids part, maybe that's what, like for me, it's more what makes it more difficult.
Listen, I would agree with you, but on the same time, when you build your life in this way, on your way, you meet people with the same mindset. And it's not about quantity of connections. Of course, when we have our old friends, we have some shared history, and it's nice to surround yourself with people that you used to know from a long time before, because you have already some shared experience. But overall, every new place will give you new connections and new people. And when you mentioned regarding kids, I don't have kids, but in my vision, when you have a kid and when you travel across different countries, imagine how cool it will be for your kid. Learn new languages, explore new cultures, and of course you need to have this basic education. But I believe that from just like traveling and exploring the world, you can gain much more rather than from attending like a simple school. Yeah. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm like too romanticized this concept.
I think it depends on how you see what school is about. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you have some examples of people traveling with, like moving countries with kids, like let's say digital nomads with kids. I just interviewed the guy, he's an Australian dude. So he spent like 2 weeks a month here in Bali, 2 weeks in Cebu in the Philippines. But his kids stay here. So they go to a school here, but he split it between 2 countries.
Actually, a good friend of mine, he moved from Dubai to Bali. He sold everything in Dubai. He sold his business. He has 3 kids, and he's been living in Bali for about 4 or almost 5 years. And as far as I know, like school in Bali, they are very high quality. And many expats, they bring their kids to schools here. And kids learn how to deal with nature, how to clean the ocean, take off plastic from the ocean. So it's different way of education.
What is geo-arbitrage?
When we talk about geo-arbitrage, what is arbitrage? Is when you take one location or when you can benefit from being in one location, and when you can run your business or sell your products or make money from another location. Because Bali and Indonesia, they are relatively cheap to live, same as Thailand or any other Southeast Asia country. But you can easily run your business and you can sell products in US or you can sell products in Europe. And making money in US and spend money in Indonesia, you see this difference. So basically it's a geo-arbitrage. It comes from just a concept of arbitrage. Many people, they do traffic arbitrage, selling something or buying something for like lower and selling something for higher. That's a very simple concept, and if you understand how to like adapt it to your life, you can win.
What's your thoughts on like where the world is going? I know that you like Asia more than Europe, so like Europe is slow and it's like bureaucratic. Do you think that the global trends, they're shifting to Asia, and particularly Southeast Asia? How you see this, the big trends in the world?
Recently I watched a video by Ray Dalio. It's a 40 minutes animation documentary about a new world order, where he mentioned that every country, every huge empire, and he's mentioning examples of Dutch Empire, British Empire, and now American Empire, how they develop, how they rise, and how they going down.
Yeah.
And that video is very interesting to understand where the world is heading. And if you look like around, now world is changing so fast. So many wars happening, so many relocations, so many movements, and freedom is getting more and more harder to maintain and to keep your personal freedom and to keep your personal sovereignty. I believe that in the nearest future, we'll see some sort of events that will prevent us from easy of travel as it's now. It will be more difficult to get second residency or second passport. It will be more complex to allocate your resources across different locations. And Asia is definitely a place where things are... Actually, this is one of the regions in the world free of war. No conflicts happening in Southeast Asia for now. We don't know when things will change. And my approach is that you have to definitely build your personal plan B in case if something will go wrong. You know also what is interesting? The more places you visit, the more countries you had this experience to live, the more you understand that less and less countries are actually suitable for a long-term living. Because if you don't have this experience of living in different places, you can think, okay, I will go there, it will be cool there, or it will be cool there. But no, you've been there. And now you know that not so many places on the map that are really suitable for long-term living. And I would say that probably Bali is one of them. Of course, it has some sort of natural risks that you cannot predict and you cannot prevent in any way. Let's say earthquakes, volcano, because Bali has this active volcano Agung, and recently it was erupted, in 2018, I guess. That's one of the things to consider. Singapore is definitely a great place to stay, it's safe. Maybe Malaysia, KL. From European countries, probably Portugal is one of the most livable countries. It's very different from Spain. But if you will look what is happening now in Europe, especially in Spain, so many migrants coming from Africa and from that side, they just stop the boats on Costa del Sol, this southern part of Spain. And so many people just go to Spain asking for money, status. Like refugees, and the Spain government is trying to provide them, trying to be nice and to protect and to provide them, but they actually don't accept their nice gesture, and they just go and rob tourists. South America is not that safe overall. It's the number one place for drug trafficking. And some countries there relatively safe, like Chile, maybe Uruguay, Paraguay as well. My idea is to have a land somewhere in the mountains, build a self-sustainable house with solar panels, with Starlink or some sort of 24 access internet, buy Bitcoin and buy Ethereum, to protect yourself from fiat currency, because at any moment your bank can send you a welcome message or a happy message, and they can tell you, okay, sorry, but after careful consideration, we've decided to close your account. And it doesn't matter how long you've been their customer, 10 years, 15 years.
Sounds exciting and scary at the same time. I mean, is it possible to achieve that level of freedom, to be free of society, of the government rules and the regulations?
I don't think it's possible now, because in any way we are connected. We cannot just go to the forest and live there and disconnect ourselves completely from everything. Maybe you can do that, but how long you can take it for yourself? And let's say before people used to move to big cities because big cities, they provided opportunity to work, better infrastructure, restaurants, networking. You can go to an office in the big cities. But now I don't think that living in a big cities give you any advantages. It's not safe, air quality is not good, mostly you get junk food, it's noisy, your level of stress is higher. And from my observation, more people, they move out from big cities and they looking for land somewhere on a remote island, and they build their own community, own villages, invite people with same vision, with same concept to join them. And probably this is the way to go. That's where more and more conscious and, let's say, awakened people will move this direction.
What's the meaning of life for you?
I can share a story that just recently happened. Just 2 weeks ago, I have lost my best friend here in Bali. And it's the first time ever I've experienced this death. It was just so close to me like never before. He was my friend since 9 years old. I knew him for 26 or 27 years. Yesterday we just texted on WhatsApp hey bro, how is life? Everything is good. He said, yeah, I'm on the way, I'm driving, I'll call you back. And he never called me back. His body was found on the depths of 27 meters in the ocean, 50 meters out of shore. That was terrible experience. And I'm still trying to process it.
So it was just an accident?
It was an accident. It's a mystery, actually. I don't know what happened, but it is what it is. I don't know the details. I just know the fact that he is no longer here. And he was one of my best friends. He was my soul brother. We had so many shared experiences together. And why I've mentioned this story, it's not something maybe for a camera, but this is real life. And meaning of life, we consider ourselves super important. We have all these dreams, we have our visions, we want to be happy, we want to just feel good, and someone will tell that meaning of life is to achieve something, someone will tell that the meaning of life is to be successful, but again, success is very individual concept. Someone will tell that life has no meaning, you just have to live. But what I've realized is that when we are alive, when we have all these dreams or visions, and the next day if something will happen and you're not here, the question is what you will leave after you, what will be your legacy. Maybe it's not a question that you will ask yourself every day, but it's a very interesting question to think in the long term and to understand that once you're gone, maybe your friends, your parents, they will be sad for a week, maybe longer. But world will not change. World will continue to move. People will start, they will continue doing what they used to do. And for me, meaning of life is to leave something after me. I don't know what is this. Recently, actually, I wrote and I finished my book. It's called Freedom CEO. Hacking your way to global mobility, personal sovereignty, and offshore living. And the reason why I published a book, because I was talking to my friend, and he shared with me amazing exercise. What's your perfect day? Imagine if everything in your life is already settled. You don't have to worry about anything. What would you do? Not in terms of fun, but how you will spend your day in a meaningful way. What would you do that, what will fulfill you? And when I was doing this exercise, I've answered very honestly that I would write a book, because I just like to write. I like to share my thoughts, and that's the way I see the world. I believe that we have this energy that we have to transform in some sort of creation. Let's say for you it's making videos and making interviews with amazing people, and that's the product, that's your sort of creation. For me it was publishing and writing a book. Now so many books on the market. I'm not sure that that book will be read by many people. But if someone will read that book and someone will say, wow, I like this concept or I like this thought, and if that book will plant a right seed in someone else's life, I feel that my mission somehow will be completed, and that small, process of planting seeds in someone else's life will make me maybe more happy.